Okay, so let's start with the implementation. So first I had to learn how to like connect with the database. So I even had some issues with this. I think at some moment they changed it, and I had to change it to this one. I had another connector. This is a connector, I think. I had another one I had to change because it stopped working. I guess the version change. These things, technology changes too fast, but it's cool if you have to learn it, I guess. So here's where you initiate the session. Here is the connection to the database. This is the address. My instance of Amazon. I've changed this. I don't know, like 20 times because, and then I had then it's mostly the same. The only thing that changes is this first thing here. So I had to be changing this every single time. My DB, my database is written out. My blah 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 blah. But I kept it the same capstone, and this is the same. This is the username, and this is the password. I kept it the same, so it was just tas 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 tas. So this makes like a connection. It's like a tube, I guess, to the database. And here you create a statement. I'm just explaining what I've learned. Okay, I'll try to be very fast. I'll be looking at the time. So this is the statement. So this builds like the connection. Okay, then here's the request ID from the web content from the JSPs. Those are pretty cool. I've never used them because that's Java, right? JSP. I didn't even know what that was. It's pretty cool. It's like correct me if I'm wrong because I really didn't I haven't looked for it, but I just a little bit of the experience. It seems like it's just a combination of a lot of things, right? CSS, HTML, uh, and all those types of languages that, and some other PHP and stuff like that that I've never used PHP, but I will one day. And then this, okay, so it gets the parameters from there that you put in. And then here is where it checks if you put a category in. This I had trouble with here, but I finally figured out that it's null. And then this here or this or this. If it's the ID is blank, the password's blank or this, whatever. And then it sets the attribute message. I don't know if it's good practice, but I'm going to be using this to show information and stuff of what happened. I think it happens a lot. I remember a lot of web pages doing that. Then it goes back to the same. I don't know if this is correct, but I've sent it back to the same page with that message until you try again. And then if that doesn't happen, it comes down here. Then the category, you get the category. Then here you need this type of statement. It's just the ones that I told you in my SQL. That's where I use kind of how to do this. I would check them. I would print these out here in the console, and then I would print this out on the console. You see how I hit that? I don't know what that is. Don't listen to it. Then please. And then what? So then, okay. So then here it goes. Then here it iterates until it finds the person with the ID and with the password that coincides with the password. Here you can use the hashing in case you save it in the database with like some kind of encryption. Here you can encrypt it and then check if it coincides with that. Uh, Here's where you can do it. And then the first name I kept it with the administrator and with the student. I kept the same thing: first name, last name. And the only thing that changes is if it's students, it has a level, right? A level which indicates what level you are taking the test in, like integers or there's different levels. You'll see right now. I'll show you in the database. Also, I'll show you now. So the levels are here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's integers. I separated them like this so we can later on find the solution. So it's integer. So if you're at level 1, for instance, this student over here is at level 1. Uh, if he's at level 1, it comes over here and checks the level where it's at level 1, right? And then it says, okay, integers, and then easy. It could be level 2, could be integers medium, level 3, integers hard, and so on, right? And then I'm just explaining what it did, sir. And then um, it grabs the level that he's in. It comes over here. Then it comes over here. If it's admin, after doing all this, it didn't do this. That's why it didn't break or anything. Then if it's admin, it takes you back and it redirects you to the admin JSP. Okay, that's if you're a student. It comes over here. So select. I could use capitals here. Select for data about levels. So now I check what specific level it is. Right now I only have the level ID. Um, then it checks the levels. Then it puts it in there. Boom, set attribute, get attribute level path. and then it comes over here and it does a statement, then it goes over until it goes into the levels section and grabs a chapter plus the difficulty. So it comes over here, it goes to the levels, and then it says chapter and difficulty. So boom, boom, it grabs both of those, right? So then I set the attribute chapter. That's why it shows it in the JSP. So the levels, chapter, and difficulty, and the problem is set to anything because that's how it is. And you'll probably know. So now here it's checking if it was found, if the student was found truth. If it wasn't, it sends it back. It takes you back until you have found the student, right? Uh, it goes to the student page. When you find the student here, it goes to the student page. So that's where you can take the integers test. So then here, if it's not found, if the student is not found, that's why you found true, found true. If it's not found, it dismisses user incorrect and it logs you back. It takes you back to the same page. Okay, so that's how I did the login. I think it's typical. What I've learned is everything practically, but it was cool. Okay, so now what time? I need to be faster. So now this is the create students. So now in the create students, I do the same thing. I log in. I check if the required fields are full. If all of them have something, like this is to check if they have something in there, because I want to check like all the little bugs, but for sure it must have bugs. Then message, all entries must be full. And then response redirect. Then to calculate the number of people in the same account. So now if we found the account, we calculate the number of people. In case you want to put in the count. Here's where it checks if there's a duplicate of the count. It count if the number of counts equals 1, then there's already that, right? So I will suppose that there is not going to be any because you'll get them empty from the beginning, so it'll always do this. But I could have made it a little bit more restrictive. Okay, so then it goes up to sign up page, goes back to with this message, right? Here's where it checks if there's only one, right? But you can put greater than or equal to 1 if you want here. Then here is where it's then that doesn't happen. If that doesn't happen, if it's 0, then boom, it comes over here. Then it requires the parameters and it sends into this is the SQL statement that I will take in. Then I'll put the SQL statement in here, and then I'll execute this. I use the same thing as over here. The statement as this one, I guess, as this one here. Oh no, I just did another one, right? So I did it, then if it was then it says it still wants to add to the database. This you get an answer. In this case, you get an answer 1 or not a 1. So if it's a 1, student was successfully the redirects and the message. If it's not, boom, and that's how that one was. And this is else, right? So let's go to eliminating the student. Where's it at? Okay. So now elimination is practically the same. We connect to the database. You must input an ID if the ID is null. Then here is the statement, the database statement that we're going to send. We're going to execute the update. We're going to do the query here, and then send this if it was directed. Eliminate student, and that's practically what it is. Then eliminate student JSP. Then go back to the same page with that message, right? With this message, you must no. Where's it at? This one. You successfully eliminated student with the ID wasn't found. Any of these two. Okay, now the lesson. So you have all the attributes. It grabs the student. It signs the student in. You log the student in, and the student selects this part here. So it grabs the chapter, and it sets the attribute chapter and difficulty. So let's check the JSP here. So here's where it starts, right? Lesson. I guess here lesson. So here's where it starts. It does all the. Here's where it collects when it starts getting all the like the order of the numbers and stuff like that. So you get the chapter difficulty. Here's where you put them together. Here is where you locate the problem. Oh, okay. So here you locate the problem. So you have to. Here I grab the first problem because then I sent it to another page. So you locate the problem. It grabs the chapter and the difficulty. And here's where you get the solution. That's why I put it like that. Difficulty plus, remember this underscore easy underscore medium or whatever. So here it does it and it uses the same locate problem. Boom, boom. It's the same algorithm. So the locate problem's down here. So here's where you find the problem order. You connect to the database. You count how many are in the integers because you send Uh, in this case, it is the integers, and I could have extended that one. The integers, and then it counts the number of available problems, and then here it it finds the size, the problem, the available problems, the size, and then here it randomizes the order. So then that's a problem order. Then I was having difficulty with this. Then I created an array. So it says create array. So it creates an array of the exact same thing down here. Problem size, boom, 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 but creates an array of that. Okay, so this over here is how it locates the problem. So I wanted to, okay, so it connects, and it goes into it, it puts the difficulty, because the difficulty would be easy or whatever. Select easy from database, then the chapter would be integers, where number is whatever. So it looks for that number and execute query, and then it sends the problem back. So here's where you locate the problem. Here's where you create the array and the problem order, which used okay. So here's where I did it. I used it here, and I used a linked hash set. That's what I want to say. I used a linked hash set because that doesn't allow repetition of numbers, right? So it wouldn't be written like 1 1 2 2 2. So it's just 1 3 5 1, and then like back and forth. And then I randomized it to, where's the random? I put some randomness in there. So that's what I did. That's what I created. It ended up giving me. Then I put it in the state. Then I put it in the session. I thought that was the easiest way, I guess. I problem number. So it's the right here. Click solution problem number array. This one is the array in the session. So it'll be there. Then okay. So let's say that you get that number, you input your solution, and then it checks your solution, right? So here I sent in the problem order. Here I had a lot of difficulty recasting or casting an array into, but look how easy it was. I don't know what was wrong, what was going on there. And then, okay, so now here is where it gets from the database. Here's where you add the solution to get the solution, difficulty solution, remember? Easy solution, and then, or just easy, like in this table here, look. That's why it is going to be like here. It's easy solution, so you can just add solution to it. That's why I put it like that. And then it's easy expandable to medium, whatever level you're at. It'll look at the group of levels you put in the level. Okay, so then it goes over here. It just checks. Okay, so it says send redirect, a lesson display. So then it'll take you to lesson display. This is the check solution, right? Then it'll go back to lesson or grade display. So if you finish it, is that there's an if statement here. This is when the number of problems finishes in the database. See this, if the problem number is whatever. So once the problems are finished here, this would avoid going over the numbers and the number of problems inside of the array of numbers, right? Not the array of problems, because I tried to do the array of problems and that was huge. So it's the array of numbers, and then you locate the problem here again. Here you just locate all the problems. So it's a locate problem. It's the same thing here. I didn't want to allocate the arrays into a session, so I just did this function here, which allocates a problem every time. That's why only the array of problem order is in the session. So it'll give you the problem order, the number of it, and then of the problem that you want to display, and then it'll come over here and look at it. Okay. So this is what I did here. So let's see what time. This is too long. Okay, just put it faster. If it's so there's a session, that's practically it. That is it. Solution. So initialize session is just initialize a few things. Return home was just the button to return home. Boom boom to come back. The sign out was the invalidate the session and that. And here's the lesson JSP. I learned all this. I learned like all this is CSS, I guess, because guys are cheap, but this is cool because it's like you just start moving things around. And then here I learned this little thing here, how to save the variables appear. I didn't know that. Sorry if I'm taking too long. I hope you have time. And then take this off. Okay, so then I wasn't seeing this little screen. Okay, so it was in the background. So that's practically it. But then I tried to deploy it, of course, into the I tried to deploy it into this AWS thing, sir. Let's see what time is it, so I can remind you. 15. Okay, 15, 20. Um, this is what I was trying to do. I don't know what was going on here. It's going crazy. So you have to build this public subnet, this private subnet. This private subnet is where your database is because you can only have connection between your public subnet and this through a private subnet. And then you have to it's like a virtual root router or something. I've never done this, but I think I understand it. Like this is the private subnet thing. This is the internet gateway. This is towards the outside. This is local. This is like their local IP address. I did it a lot of times, and I need to learn it. This is cool. Uh, I tried this a lot. This is very cool. So right now, I only have like a database here. That's what we're doing, and it would be hard for you to do it too because I had trouble. I realized what the problem was. The problem was that when I opened a database here, and then the instance the instance would where's it at? It allocates your your IP address to the instance. So let me go into this here. UPC, then I don't know, security groups, I guess. Security groups. So it would be this is the RES console. So the security group. So inbound. See, this is my IP. Don't look at it there. This is my IP address. So um this is my IP address. So, but I'm gonna block this out. This software lets me. So, so every time I would go somewhere else, it wouldn't, it wouldn't allow me. It wouldn't, it wouldn't allow me to access it. But I didn't know it until these 3, 4 days that I was trying to do this. So I had to build this, and I had a very hard time, sir. But this is very cool. I need to learn how to do this, and I apologize if I had any inconvenience. But this was practically it. I I I really did learn a lot. I, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Just what I said. Okay, sir. All right. I appreciate your time. I probably learned more than what I said. I thank you for your patience and muchas gracias, señor. Thank you very much. Hope everything goes well. I'll upload this to YouTube, I think. All right. Bye bye.